Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a completely soggy Wednesday morning. It's raining, and I know what you're asking. Where's your raincoat, Sal? Hanging on the back of my bedroom door, she says. Yeah. Why did I not look out of the window first? However, there's part of me that goes, I am safe. I have Carly's umbrella. Stella the umbrella is with me. Really? There has to be a traffic jam at this time of day? Very funny. I got this word going now. Very funny indeed. All right, so I'm looking at all the wet people. Wet people out there collecting nuts. There are wet people delivering newspapers. I thought we'd talk about help today. And the reason I wanted to talk about help is because, as you well know, one of the things I love about the common denominator about the DearMamaSal peeps is that they actually care. And there is a fine line between caring and enabling, I guess. And we've spoken about that a number of times. But also a fine line between caring and helping. So the reason I wanted to talk about helping somebody in stress, when I'm talking about stress, I'm talking about somebody who has gone into shock for whatever reason. And it can be a mild case of shock, it doesn't matter, but if you've got somebody that you care about that has had a shock, let's talk about what you don't want your family and friends to do. All right, because I think this is really important that we start talking about this. And hopefully some of you will give me your pet peeves about what people say and do, and you just go, really? Okay, so it's not that they don't mean to help. It's about, hello, I'm in shock. And the reason that there's a difference in that is because when you are in shock, the way that your brain processes is disturbed to a large degree, because you've got way too much going through your brain. Does that make sense? So your brain's on overload. And so you don't want to talk to somebody who's in brain overload in guilt terms or anything that suggests they're stupid or whatever. So I don't know about you guys, but when I was trying to process what had happened to my trees, people kept saying, yes, but nobody was hurt. I know that, and I appreciated that. That's intellectual. Totally appreciated that. I didn't have an issue with that at all. But that did not help me to keep repeating that to me, because it wasn't helping where I was sore. I was sore at a very primal level. It was about, if you guys know about Maslow, it was my security had gone, my fence had gone. That doesn't make any logical sense because there was a gate in my fence. So that doesn't make any logical sense. But dealing with somebody in shock doesn't always make logical sense. You have to know what they're feeling. And I guess that's what I would ask of you. is if you have somebody who is dealing with a loss, if you have somebody who is dealing with emotional pain of any sort, the most important thing is what are they feeling? Not how logical you can be and what 55 steps you need to take next. Then really they can't get into that right now. They are still feeling something. They're either feeling sadness, or they're feeling anger, or they're feeling insecure, or they're feeling violated, whatever those feelings are. And by the way, if you really want to help, honor those feelings. So if they say, I feel like I've just been attacked, and you're going, what? The trees went the other way. Don't do that. Try and understand the feeling and say, hey, I can relate to that. If those trees had gone the other way, they would have attacked you, you're right. You see, hear the person and honor their feelings. Don't keep calling them wrong, or giving statements that infer that they're stupid for thinking the way that they think. You see, you cannot possibly understand what the other person's process is because you haven't lived their life. And if you haven't lived their life, you don't know what that means in their life. So losing my fence, to me, was a major. It was a minor to anybody, just a fence sum. Nobody got hurt. How many times? Yeah, I know it was just a fence, but it was my boundary, if you like. It was my security point. And I kept thinking how many times that happens when people try and help. They are so busy trying to make it better, when in fact all that the other person needs is somebody to understand their feeling. Or not even understand it. You can even say, hey, I don't understand that because I haven't lived your life, but I understand you're feeling that. And I just wanted to ask, what can I do for you right now? And it was really, really strange how I went through that whole of that 24-hour period, just quietly trying to process it all and to put it back into boxes, because it was like somebody had blown up all my boxes somewhere along the line, and I need to get them stacked up again, back in rows, neat little rows in my mind. Somebody had just blown the whole lot apart. All my feelings were raw, and therefore people were saying really logical, practical things, and it was pissing me off. And the really peculiar thing, and I think I told you about this, was I actually woke up feeling strange. I woke up feeling there was something wrong, and I didn't know what it was. I thought, to my horror, that maybe something had happened to somebody close to me. And then it turned out that this happened later on, a couple of hours later. So there was some sort of premonition thing going on that was really weird. So the next time that you're with somebody who has had a shock to their system, which maybe didn't shock your system, all right? Try not to, you're not the center of everything. Whatever the shock is to their system, ask more questions rather than tell them what to do next, or tell them how lucky they are. So, and try not to make them wrong in any way. So somebody's had a big shock. I know you've had a big shock. What are you feeling? What are you feeling? And mean it. Tell me what you're feeling. And then, what can I do to help you right now? And if the answer is nothing, I just need space to process, then that's okay. And by the way, if your friend reacts a bit strongly out of shock, forgive them. Because again, you could have said the most caring, loving thing, but the way that their mind was processing at that moment, they could have heard it completely a different way. Therefore, you might even want to verbalize that and say, you know, that was difficult for me to hear, and it hurt a little, but I understand you're in shock. So I'm not going to take offense at it. I would love to hear your stories of what people did when you were in shock and what you would have liked them to have done. Because I think if we can share enough of those stories, it will really help people understand. So if you got your story, feel free to leave it in the comments. It doesn't need to be 65 paragraphs long, just this is what happened. I was in shock, and these were the comments that made me want to find freezer space. Because I was finding it very amusing. This is going to be big trouble for me for the rest of my life, I can tell. Anyway, all right, everybody. So with that thought, and my thought for the day is help people today. Don't control them. Help them. If you see something go wrong for somebody, you know, they drop something that was special. If they get shouted at by somebody else, if, you know, whatever happens, whatever you see go wrong, go, wow, how does that make you feel? Because honoring people's feelings is a very nice place to start. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.